Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex in beautiful downtown Sudbury, Ontario. You're here at the new Holland U-20 Canadian Curling Championships. My name is Sean Turriff. I'm happy to be joined with Tanner Horgan. The two of us are going to be bringing you this game along with our production crew. Today for you, we've got Ontario 2 women playing against Alberta 1 women. That'd be the Charlotte Wilson team against the Emma DeSchiffart team. Did I get that right, Tanner?
I believe so, yeah. We confirmed with her before the game. Wanted to make sure we were professional, yeah.
So, Tanner, what do we expect out of this one? Do you have any feel for either one of these teams?
I believe I'm not too sure actually. We're going to see how they play it in the first end. See if they start with a rock in the rings or if they go a little bit more aggressive. Alberta seems to be so far a little bit more comfortable with the ice based on the draw the button outcome. So potentially they could push in the first end a little bit. Could throw a corner guard, but yeah, have to wait and see.
Just getting the team introductions done here across the sheets. So we get those underway. Once we get those completed, we'll get underway. So for those of you out there wondering how come there's an Ontario 2 and an Alberta 1 and this kind of thing, a couple of years ago, Curling Canada made the decision to expand this championship to include multiple entries from different provinces. The idea being that the more experience we could give more athletes at a national championship, the better they would be prepared in the next stage of play. At this event, how many teams are there? There's 4 draws of 9, something like that. Sorry, I should know that, but I don't off the top of my head. I know at the U-18 level they did the same thing, and there's, I want to say, 42 teams, which sounds like an awful lot. But again, the idea being we give more experience to more athletes, and so as they progress through, there'll be more experience and more athletes with that experience. So Tanner, looks like Alberta won the last stone draw, and will enjoy hammer in the first end, which means Ontario's lead, Sydney Anderson, will be called upon to throw the first rock. First one slipping in. Ontario might have wanted a tight guard, but this is a good play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're just getting a little bit caught with the speed early. The practice was incredibly quick. We were getting times of upwards of 15-6, 15-7, slipping into the back 4. So not surprising, just maybe with a little bit of jitters, a little bit of amped up energy before the game that the rock slides into the rings. So it's to be expected here. So far, Alberta does seem a little bit more comfortable with the ice, a little bit more confidence in their step.
So pretty standard opening, Tanner, right? The Ontario team putting a couple rocks in. The Alberta lead, Sarah Yarmuk throwing up a corner. Ontario puts another one in, and I guess it looks like Alberta's probably going to try and play the hit and roll here. Nothing too unorthodox to start this one.
Yeah, pretty measured approach from Alberta. Nothing too aggressive. They could have gone around the corner. That would have been quite aggressive for the first ends. So they're still playing. They're not going up and down. They're putting up a safe corner. And the nice thing about the 5-rock rule here is even though you see the rollout, it forces Ontario to not hit that corner guard and not peel, not get out of the end. So there still is going to be some opportunity for Alberta to potentially score 2 here.
Ontario's second, Abby Rushton, throwing another one up. Think she's going in here, Tanner, or is she going to play a tight guard? What do you think?
I believe she's throwing a guard. It is very quick ice, seemingly. So Alberta here, another chance to either make this double or roll over towards that corner guard and potentially generate some offense.
It's a big ad.
Alberta's second is Bethany Evans. Bethany is a Bachelor of Science student at the University of Alberta. So this is the second week of play on this ice pad. Last week was the U-21 Mixed Doubles Canadian Championships. The ice has been TV quality, I'll put it that way. Lots of curl, lots of speed. It doesn't break down very easily. Very consistent. And so what we normally see at this event is that's new for a lot of teams, the amount of curl. Some teams have a better time adjusting to it than others. Even on hits like that last one, I think they, like to your point, Tanner, I think they wanted to roll in behind the guard or make the double. That one kind of overcurled. Got the one off the top. Safe call, safe shot, but didn't get what they wanted because of the overcurl. Bethany being asked to chase this. Another shot you might not see at your club, for instance, because the ice conditions might not be quite as good as this. Guard placement on ice like this is really tricky because you're able to get around them with a little weight. This one looks a little quiet.
Not a bad result. Get 2 corners out of this. Forces Ontario to put back a good guard. To your point, it can be challenging to get the line right on these guards with lots of curls. So safe miss there. Certainly better than going by it.
Ontario third, Amelia Benning. Probably looking to put up another tight corner, tight center.
Really tight.
Like I said, the guard placement here, and you'd be used to this, Tanner, with your extensive experience on quality ice. Guard placement here is really tricky, right? Because too deep, you set up the double, too high, and the chase is relatively easy. Maybe at your club, you could put it somewhere, anywhere, kind of sloppy in the front, but here you have to be pretty precise.
Yep, certainly. Yeah, this unfortunately might hurt Team Ontario here. If Alberta can hit and stay in the rings, it could lead to a more advantageous position for them. See if they can get the line right on this shot. We've had a couple overcurls so far.
Alberta third, Abby Descharmeaux. Oh, there you go, Tanner. The double, plus she stayed in the rings. That was pretty sweet.
You got it. You got it. This curl quite a bit in practice.
Perfect shot here, Tanner. A little flop to the middle, or would she like to just stay right where she is?
I think a little flop to the middle.
Good.
The idea being that if we could roll to the middle, at least into the 8 foot, then if Alberta were to go around those corner guards, then Team Ontario would remain shot rock. So all these little things kind of add up, even though it looks like a pretty simple end here. Rolling into the middle so that you would stay shot rock for a potential draw around the corner is quite important.
Alberta just really doesn't want to roll out here. Decision time here for Ontario. They're contemplating just a draw into the open, or I saw them signal kind of around the corner. Safe play is probably wide open rather than around the
This looks
corner.
a little safer to me. Yeah.
I think if you, correct me if I'm wrong, you go around the corner, you're inviting the 2 back into play.
Yeah, potentially. I think, yeah, potentially going a little bit deep could leave a freeze opportunity for Team Alberta. So I'm a fan of this, especially in the first end. Got to have some trouble. Start another end.
Yesterday when it was up to speed, it was about this.
Ontario skips Charlotte Wilson. Charlotte's grade 11 student at Bell High School.
Becky! Becky! Mine's good. Mine's good. Back 4! You can go a bit. Pretty frosty on it. T! Really curling. Pretty frosty. Tuppy! Mine's good. Tuppy! Tuppy! Losing it a bit. Tuppy! Top 4. Hard. Hard. Oh my God, that's a team. Good. Good. Yeah.
Good shot. It's away from the center line, so the roll behind the corners really isn't there. I mean, if she were, she'd be way behind the tee line. Emma probably quite happy just to nose this. Get the blank out of the end.
Easy up! Clean! Medium! Clean! Move! Up! Up!
Oh, really wanting that to hang on. So unfortunately with that rollout, there's a risk-free opportunity to get a force here. Charlotte's going to have a good chance to get in behind those corner guards and force Team Alberta to take a single.
So how deep do you think they want to be with this one, Tanner?
I would say it's not overly important. I mean, right on the tee line gives you probably the easiest chance of making the shot. If you're a little bit behind or above the tee, it's really shrinking the rings on you out this wide. So more really of a line shot here. Get this over buried, no chance of giving Alberta an opportunity to pick it out of there and get the blank. So
Top 8! 4! Top 8! Mine's good! Mine's really good! Abby's wrong! Top 8! Abby's wrong! Fully! Abby's wrong! T! Fully!
this is the thing I think has improved the most in curling the last number of years, certainly since I've aged out of juniors, is most people are exceptional sweepers. I think that is that's really where I've seen the game change. Like Team Ontario front end placing that draw quite well.
Sneaky little force there.
Absolutely.
That's a good shot by Charlotte Wilson, forcing Emma DeSchiffart to just draw somewhere in the 8-foot for her single. Sweeper seemed to like it early, no panic.
$15.65 is what I got. Very quick, but well done.
A 1 on the board for Alberta 1, and we'll head into the second end. Ontario will take the hammer, and Alberta will take the 1-0 lead. Cool, we're back. Tanner, my name's Sean Turf. I'm here with Tanner Horgan, a legend around these parts here. Tanner?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration.
It was pretty special to have you and your brother and your sisters throwing the opening ceremonies rock. That was pretty cool. I know, I don't know how it must have felt. Must have been amazing. It was great to watch. So, yeah, in your hometown and all that.
Yeah, it was quite special last night. The four of us being able to do that all together. To be quite honest with you, it was kind of a full circle moment. I've been able to play in 6 of these championships, and all 6 of them with my brother Jake. And to be up front at one of the opening ceremonies and to see a little bit more of the behind the scenes from a different perspective. It was a little emotional. There was a lot of people that have put a lot of work in here that I've grown up with, and all the volunteers, and for Sudbury to get a chance to host the national championships is quite special, and it means a lot to a lot of the volunteers in this area.
Well, it's been an exceptionally well-run event so far. As I said earlier, the U-21 mixed doubles was last week, and things just went amazingly. I can't say enough about the volunteers and that, and the officials and everybody who's here to make this a big event for these athletes. Our game here in the second end opens with a draw to the center and a hit, and then a hit back, and now a hit and roll out by Alberta, giving Ontario a chance maybe to generate a little offense. We'll see.
Another measured approach here. This is what we call the delayed corner. Ontario going in on their first, waiting for an opportunity, a potential miss like we just saw, and now they can throw a corner that is still protected by the 5-rock rule. So now Alberta faced with a choice. Do we go into the middle? Do we go around the corner? I think they're electing to throw a center guard. This is how I would suggest they handle the delayed corner situation. Tends to choke up the middle a little bit more and bring play back to the middle.
Alberta getting caught a couple of times now on the curl, on the amount of curl. Seems like they've got their weight down really well. In that last end, that one rollout was proved costly. That was really the issue there. And then just down this end, the over curl on the hit. So we'll see if they can maybe make some adjustments and reduce the over curls. Teams do play 8 ends. This is new this year, playing 8 ends. Most of that gets driven from the next level, which will be world curling, of course. World curling, they've moved to 8 ends, and so, of course, we want our athletes to be as ready for that as they can be. Good draw there by Ontario there, Tanner, right in behind that guard.
Absolutely.
Threw a little port, but not so little, maybe medium-sized little. Looks like we're gonna have some rocks in play here, Tanner. Around the corner, around the center.
This one, unfortunately, might be coming out the other side. Not ideal. Probably wanted to keep that a little bit higher in the rings, a little bit, as we look at the screen now, a little bit more to the right. Ontario's got an opportunity now to chase and potentially put another one behind the corner guard. This one looking a little bit light. Sweeper's going to have to go on this one. Little sneaky there, depending on where this ends up.
So you'll see right now the coach having a chat with the Ontario team. There's something new as well, relatively new. It's not new this year, but relatively new. Coach interaction rules. They've changed, giving coaches more access to players during the play. They can only talk to their own team while the other team has control of the house. Once the shot comes off, then they have to stop. They are allowed one interaction, which is like a timeout, but the time actually doesn't stop. One interaction per half at the U-20 level. Rules do change, and the idea being that players have more independence as they get older. So at U-18, they get more interactions. At the U-25, they don't get any interactions. They get a traditional timeout instead. And then, of course, by the time you get to your level, there's one timeout as driven by the world curling rules. And it's that traditional timeout that we're used to. It's a bit of a learning curve for a lot of the coaches, but at the same time, as a coach myself, I will say I appreciate the access to you as the athlete. It really just changes what we can talk about and how we can plan our game and what we can talk about before and after the game.
Yeah, I think getting coaches more involved in the sport is generally a good idea. I think certainly at our level, one of the things that's changed recently too is we're allowed to converse with the coach as long as we don't have control of the house. So you can see the players going back to their bench and talking a lot more about various things, strategy, collecting more data. And so if you have a really, really valuable bench that does a lot of work, and that can really impact your chances of winning. And it's similar to other sports, like hockey, soccer. They're always yelling out onto the field and giving direction and input and stuff like that. So I think that is a bit of the reasoning why we've seen this change to have a little bit more coaching interaction in curling.
And again, it's kind of we did it in Canada, and then World Curling adopted it. So of course we're going to try and follow the rules that World Curling puts down, so that our players are prepared when they get to that level.
It's a good rock placement there.
Now, Tanner, would they ever come right down on the face of that one on the button? Or is that too dangerous?
I think it's a little dangerous. Certainly it could potentially put a little bit more pressure on Ontario, having the second rock in there. We're going to see our first coaching interaction here.
And so just to be clear there, the team's clock did not stop while the coach was interacting. Now the coach cannot do that again until the second half of the game. The Ontario coach cannot. And that kind of thing is actually just monitored by the coaches themselves.
Good call, I think, here, getting them to play the double peel. Unfortunately, we see a little bit of a miss there, but the rocks in front of the rings really being a hindrance to Team Ontario here, starting to get very congested in the middle. But I think back to your other point, I think one of the things that's really changed is a number of years ago when I was playing this event, I probably would have called the draw to go into the rings, but over time everyone at all levels has gotten a lot better at runbacks, double peels, and teams are just looking to protect against shots like that.
We certainly see a lot of the higher weight runs and peels and such at your level, but I think you're right, Tanner. I think you see that a lot more even with the younger players. I even see it at U18 where they're getting comfortable with running back rocks and clearing the front and managing the overall situation a little better. These just weren't tools that were used maybe 10 years ago.
Charlotte looking to line up this double peel. There is potential here to send the middle rock back straight back onto the rock in the rings and get all three of these if she can hit it in the exact right spot.
Ontario, let's go on again.
So unfortunately, Ontario not making contact on the middle rock. and opening up shot rock. I believe Alberta is playing a guard, but coming into the forfeit is not a bad option as well.
I guess they want to be careful here, right, Tanner, that they get at least partially buried under that one at the top. If they hang out a little bit, then danger, danger.
Yep. Yeah, if you stay wide open here, there could be a double chance. It looks to me with that weight in line, they're just playing the guard, playing a little bit of a simpler shot.
Looks like maybe they were calling the guard the whole way. I guess you and I are just a little aggressive. I think I would have been parking it right on top, but that was not not to say that was not a really good shot and a really good call.
Yeah.
I just
not a bad call. Yeah,
I'm just a little aggressive. That's all. Well managed. I was giving Alberta a little grief about the line earlier, and it looks like they figured that out quite well. That rock's pretty well placed.
So Charlotte here lining up, probably her only shot anyways to score. Lining up an angle run back. I believe the red on the side is shot rock, so this could be potentially a shot for two.
Little over curl there, and Alberta scores at least one. Kind of taking a look to see if their second one was shot. Looks like it was just one for Alberta. Nice little steal there for them. So Alberta steals one to go up 2-0 here going into the third end. Ontario will once again enjoy the hammer. We'll be right back.
Learned to put one foot in front of the other. That with a little hard work, great things will happen. We can go for gold, but what matters most is having fun. We learn from some of the best, improving our skills, building confidence, and making friends that feel like family. We are proud to be the future of curling.
Welcome back. We're here at the, where are we? We're at the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex in Sudbury, Ontario. My name is Sean Turroff. I'm here with, so excited to be here with Tanner Horgan, local boy, curler of some renown. And we're watching the Ontario 2 team, women's team, playing the Alberta 1 team. That would be the Charlotte Wilson team, and the Emma DeSchiffart team. Alberta enjoying a 2-0 lead. Early impressions so far, Tanner?
Generally seems like Alberta has a better handle on the ice so far. Couple over curls on some hits, but otherwise rock placement's been quite good. They're drawing quite well. They made a lot of guards last end, put a lot of pressure on Team Ontario. So Ontario probably going to have to perform a little bit better early in the end, get us a little bit better setup in the middle.
Yeah, that last time they weren't really able to bail out, right? They weren't really able to get those peels made, and that eventually ended up burning them.
So Alberta, no need for guards here. Up 2 in the score. Good shot. Shrinking the rings there, putting that right on the button. Ontario electing to throw the corner guard.
For those of you not familiar with the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex, there are 2 ice pads, and on each ice pad there are 4 sheets. We're on the side, the ice pad 1, with sheets A, B, C, and D. We're on sheet C. There are 4 games going on in front of us, obviously our feature game. There's 4 on the other side of the arena, which we cannot obviously see. For all your scores, I would go to curling.ca/scoreboard for live scoring. Alberta happy to go in here, Tanner?
Yeah, absolutely. No need of added center guards here. I think force Ontario to make a few key shots, keep their rock placement tight, and Ontario looking to not throw a second corner guard, but to hit here in the rings and try and bring the play over to towards that corner.
Probably want to stick around on that one. Probably pretty important they want to stick around on that one. So Tanner, you were at this event 6 times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
What do you think? What do you think was the biggest learning point, I guess, going from play downs and your club play and your bonspiel play to the nationals? Like, what was the thing that kind of, I guess, you took away most from a national versus some of these other events?
I think it's the pace of the event. I think it's the duration, the travel. It really feels like a dry run of something like a Brier or Scotties. By the time we got to play in our first Brier back in 2023, Jake and I had already played in a number of national championships. And, some people might tell you that it's not as big as the Brier and the Scotties. When you're playing these events, it certainly feels that way. It really felt like it was our Brier, and we looked forward to it every year and trained and tried to peak for that event. So really just having that similar flow throughout the year, and pressure is kind of what you put on yourself. So these events are invaluable for the development of these athletes going forward.
Ontario slipping in there behind that corner guard, pretty perfect. Pretty well covered. Might be chaseable with the way the ice curls here.
Certainly an option, yeah.
Might be a little dangerous though, playing that chase, because if you ever don't make it, I suppose opens it up for 2 for Ontario.
Yep, peeling certainly a little bit safer of a shot here. Better chance of making contact on one of those rocks and at least removing one of them from play.
Where's your perfect spot for the shooter? Where do you want it to roll to?
I would prefer if it rolled right out.
Okay.
You're gonna be pretty high in the guard zone, so I think rolling anywhere towards the middle would leave Ontario an option to freeze on the shot rock. I think Alberta just would like to keep this end pretty clean.
Looks like they heard you. Ontario just going to replace that guard. And seeing as that Ontario rock is second shot, I guess the playbook here is keep throwing corner guards until you absolutely have to kind of go around the middle.
Yeah, there's no need for Ontario to come along and hit that rock just yet. seeing a little bit of cat and mouse here. Alberta, if they keep making these guards, is going to have to do something besides peeling if they want to stop a deuce. So, sort of to your point, on peeling the last shot, the come-around chase was an option last shot. It's not an option now because the guard is much tighter to the rings. So maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. But with the guard being high the last time, it might have been an option to chase it then.
Going to try and run this. She's really close. Oh, and where does the shooter go? Oh, that was a little unfortunate. That was a pretty good shot. I got a 7.6 on that, which there's some weight going on there. Very close. She just missed that by a touch. She just missed on the wrong side, I guess. Good effort, though. Little opportunity here for Ontario. I guess they're going to try and bury it around. I guess with that yellow rock, though, in the back of the 8-foot, she doesn't have a very big window to get in there for second shot. Still, not sure there's another shot. I think this is probably the smart call.
Yeah. Looks pretty close. Hopefully they can hang on for... Hopefully, yeah, not quite hanging on for third shot there. Still in the rings, though. Alberta's going to have some good rock placement here still.
This Alberta team playing out of the Saville Sports Centre in Edmonton. Nice shot there to avoid jamming on that back one.
Charlotte seems to be gesturing, rolling to the left as we look at it now. The double seems tempting, but it's grouping your two red stones, and you're down 2. Could be an option to try and keep your rock a little bit more in front of those yellows and force an error later in the end. Great shot getting the double.
Really an end saver there. That was a really good shot. That changes the complexion of the whole end now.
Absolutely. Alberta's going to have to be careful here. Well, I believe they're shot rock at the back. They're going to have to get this one in a pretty good spot. Ideally, above the tee line, right behind that corner guard. Sit 2. Emma's rock placement has been quite good so far. Let's see if we can get another one out of her here. Sweeper's backing off now.
Just a peach. That's a great shot.
Great shot. Impossible to remove that yellow stone behind the corner guard, so should limit the damage for Team Alberta here.
Ontario ever take that chase on the one that was just thrown? Would they ever?
It looks challenging to me.
Yeah.
I think bringing in the side rocks back into play is not an option, but certainly if they wanted to play the tap, they could. They could tap that, come down and tap that close to nose, and just sit shot rock out counting the other 2 yellows. That's an option as well, besides this freeze. Both are good options, though. Unfortunately, a little bit heavy here.
So Alberta team has, I'm not going to say an advantage, but I'm going to say an advantage. I believe, I'm quite confident that both Bethany and Sarah were here last week for the mixed doubles. So they've been playing on this ice for a week, and so maybe have a better feel for it a little bit. Maybe they've been able to share that with their team a little bit. They certainly seem like they've got the weight down a little bit. Again, I threw shade at them a little bit earlier about over curling, but they seem to have really figured that out. So I'm walking that back. Alberta just splitting the house here, Tanner.
Yeah, no need to go over near that situation. You've got everything kind of locked up. It's just about securing the force, putting a little bit more pressure on. Team Ontario probably going to have to draw against 3 here if this shot is made. Excellent sweeping to get that there. 16-7. Looks like they're sitting 3A, I believe.
2 for sure. I'll flip a coin on the third one, but 2's enough to put the pressure on.
Yeah, I think they're just leaning towards drawing here. Important shot.
Big swing shot here, I guess, Tanner. If you make it, it's still a tight game. If you don't, then you got some work to do.
Very well swept there.
Good job by the Ontario team to take their one. Still a tight game, 2-1.
Big sigh of relief. Welcome back to the New Holland
U-20 Canadian Curling Championships here at the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex in Sudbury, Ontario. We're witnessing a big battle between Ontario 2 and Alberta 1, the Charlotte Wilson team and the Emma DeSchiffart team. We've seen a steal, we've seen a force, and we've seen a second force. And it's been a good game so far, Tanner. Oh, sorry, I'm Sean Turiff, and I'm sitting here with Tanner Horgan. And we're having a lot of fun watching some good curling. Anyway, it's a good game so far, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, lots of rocks in play. Lots of important shots made by the skips so far. Those shots look easy, but they're really important. The thing about skip is sometimes you get into a string of some quote-unquote simpler shots, but the risk is quite large when you have to draw against 3 multiple points often. So they're very important shots, and you got to make them quite often if your team wants to have a chance of winning.
And you alluded to it earlier when you were talking about your experiences here, it being like a dry run, right? So practicing that pressure.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, these events they are important. They are huge when you're in them, and but yeah, the experience that you gain at these events for the other events when you grow up and eventually maybe get to a Scotties or a Brier, it just allows you to be so much more comfortable.
So we see a slightly more aggressive stance by Ontario this time. Instead of that one in the top 4, they elected to throw a center guard. Alberta electing to come around it. Now Ontario looking to freeze on this. Looks like they're going to try and press their luck a little bit here on a steal, possibly.
Yeah, I would say definitely warranted. Down 1 without hammer. It's time to push. We're in the 4th end, so you need some rocks in the middle here. This is the first time we've seen a team throw the center and then go around it, so might get a little bit of a different setup later in the end.
Alberta trying a little hit and roll there. Didn't get the roll, but really like that weight selection there, Tanner.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is probably the most important shot in curling right now is throwing just enough weight to remove the rock and control your shooter. We're really seeing, especially at our level now, that shot is just made so much. People are throwing the correct weight very often, and it can drastically change the shape of an end, hitting a rock and rolling over. And again, it seems like a simple shot. It seems straightforward. It's not as fancy as a run back or a double, but I would say quite a bit more difficult of a shot and more important.
I've always thought about the pool, like pool hall, snooker kind of analogy. It's one thing to sink the ball you're trying to hit, but the best players are really trying to position the cue ball. And I always think of the hit and roll that way. Like, for sure, you want to take that rock out, yeah. But where the shooter goes is critical.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a huge learning curve for myself when I was coming up through the ranks. Like, when we were younger, we just wanted to throw bullets all the time and wanted to see some rocks fly. But sometimes a simpler shot, just controlling the shooter, does the job a lot better. So Alberta straight peeling there. Good call, I think. Simplifying the end.
Do a quick tour around the rings here on sheet A. We've got BC playing New Brunswick. BC's up 2-1. On the sheet right beside us on sheet B, we have a Northern Ontario team against Quebec. Northern Ontario won. Quebec is enjoying a 2-0 lead there. And over on sheet D, Newfoundland and Labrador playing Saskatchewan. They're in a 2-2 tie. Again, for all the scores, curling.ca/scoreboard.
A little bit surprising to me, Ontario hit that rock this early in the end. I probably would have elected to throw the center guard at least a few times and delay this. So now Alberta, pretty low risk to try and get out of this end. And by getting out of the end, I mean potentially getting away with a blank here. Ontario, this setup really just looking for a force. There's a limited chance of getting a steal.
I think Alberta was trying to get that top one, just got a little over curl. Looks like Ontario is going into force mode here, talking about hitting and rolling away to try and spread the rocks out, prevent a double.
So unfortunately, Ontario not able to stay in the rings.
So you saw those the girls trying to curl that one with sweeping. What we found last week, again, limited experience. What we found last week in the mixed doubles was this ice was very holdable. You could hold rocks very well, and you could carve low weight shots. You weren't really going to do anything with 10 seconds and faster on the curl.
Could be a product of the ice being quite quick. We're seeing times upward of 16.8 reaching the top 8 foot in this game. So generally speaking, when the ice is a little bit faster, a little bit straighter, it's easier to hold the rocks rather than to carve them.
Case in point there, I thought she was a little narrow on that one. They called the sweeping right out of her hand, and the sweepers did a really good job of holding that one, and they made the shot and got a nice little roll out of it. Kind of an up and down end now that a couple of hits have been made. I mentioned earlier that I made mention of you and the family throwing a ceremonial first rock. The players all had a welcome reception first night, and a sibling of yours was at the welcome reception bringing a very special medal. That's your sister Tracy Fleury, bringing her Olympic bronze medal and talking to the kids for the better part of an hour. And there was tons of questions and tons of appreciation, and it was pretty enjoyable. And I think Tracy had a good time showing off her hardware. It was pretty special for the kids. I think pretty much every athlete in this field stopped and took a picture with her, and everybody had lots of really intriguing questions to ask her, and she was very, very good-natured about answering all the questions. So special for these kids.
Yeah, I remember when we were at our junior nationals in Corner Brook, Mark Nichols came to the event and gave a presentation, and yeah, I remember that being impactful on our cohort at the time, and yeah, it's great to see some of these athletes give back.
And last week, of course, we had the mixed doubles. I keep going back to the mixed doubles, but we had Brooklyn Idison and Owen Henry playing together, and they're coached by none other than Mark Idison. And it was great to have Mark here because he was able to show off his Paralympic gold medal, and just tell us tons of great stories. And so I think everybody stopped Mark and got a picture with his medal as well. So. Back to sheet C here, Alberta. Just going to throw something up here and not really hope for a miss, but try and put in a spot where Ontario has the best chance of missing or nosing or rolling out.
Okay.
Charlotte will probably want to either nose hit this or maybe, I'm guessing, roll a little bit to the center just to change the ice path a little bit.
10. 5. Yep. Yep. Hard. 10. Yep. Really hard. Really hard. Really hard. Really hard. Gotta go. 10. 5. Good. Good. Nice throw.
As I mentioned earlier, these teams now play 8 ends, so at the conclusion of this end, they'll have a short break. Alberta here just looking to rip this one out so they can take the hammer into the 5th and try again for their deuce. Just like that. So it's a blank end on the board. Alberta still enjoys a 2-1 lead. They'll take hammer into the 5th after the break. These teams will take, I believe it's a 4-minute break, 5-minute break. My mistake. 5-minute break, and we'll be back and forth.
Look at that shot. See how he reacts. There goes one move in the air. Gets them both through. Ah, great shot. That's a great shot. Oh, he's going to pick it right out of there. He's got it.
Is what you need to become the Canadian One, you got two, you got into the game.
Time to go home, kiddo.
Just one more throw, please.
Thank you for making moments like these possible.
Welcome back, folks. Here at the New Holland Canadian U-20 Curling Championships. I'm Sean Turriff, joined by Tanner Horgan. We're watching the Ontario 2, Alberta 1 game. We're in the fourth end break. The Charlotte Wilson team from Ontario and the Emma DeSchiffart team from Alberta. It's been a well-played game so far. Very tight, 2-1 game. A couple of really good draws, a couple of smart hits. Any issues you're seeing here, Tanner? We'll get back to this in a minute, but any issues you're seeing?
I think just both teams probably it could be a little bit sharper on just hit and stays, controlling the shooter, kind of like as we had alluded to earlier. But so far, great rock placement on draws, especially Team Alberta making some important draws in the third end to get out of a little bit of trouble.
Neither team really looking to take big risks yet. Ontario tried to get something going there a little bit with that center guard, but bailed out relatively early. I guess early in the game, they didn't want to take too much of a risk and get into trouble. I mean, early in the game. I say it's early in the game, but it's fourth end. Still, first half. As I mentioned, both teams get an interaction, meaning they can talk to their team while the clock is running. They get one per half. So Ontario had used one in their first half. Alberta did not use one in their first half. That resets. It doesn't mean they get to carry it over. Alberta still only now has one, and Ontario still has one for the second half. Teams giving high fives here and getting ready to go as their fifth end gears up and gets ready to roll. How do you think? Do you think Alberta will press a little bit this time, try and get their deuce, or do you think they'll wait?
I think they'll wait. Being the fifth end being an odd end, nothing wrong with a blank this end. I think it's more in the hands of Ontario. Wait and see what they do. See how much they push. Ontario calling for the center guard. Yeah, I would think Alberta would be pretty happy with a blank, carrying hammer over into 6. Ontario probably needs to push here, get something going on this end, either a force or a steal.
3. Tight 3. No. 12. Really
Now this is the infamous post-break quick end. See how they handle it. Well done.
So for those
and that is just due to the mop going up and down between the break. So when we cut to commercial, the ice maker comes along and mops the entire sheet, keeps it free of debris, and keeps the speed nice and quick. But sometimes it can speed it up a little bit. And oftentimes, if you haven't played at a big event like this, you will be unfamiliar with that, and you'll see your lead throw it your first guard into the rings quite often. And it takes a little bit of time to get used to that. But no mistake from Ontario this end.
I liked that weight. I was just assuming there'd be more fourth end frost.
And if you can hear them there, they're talking about fourth end frost. So maybe what they've found is that it's a little bit slower. Maybe the ice is sat.
That Alberta rock looks like it might have come a touch deep, Tanner. To your point about the weight. Kind of
a little bit deep, yeah.
Back button-ish. Not quite back button, but
Back 4. Bumping. Bumping just a half a foot.
top button.
Okay. Just sitting down enough there.
Pretty good line on that shot. A little bump's not a big deal.
Bumped it about a foot. There's a foot space in between. Sorry. Back four. Back four. T. T. Top four. We're down. Just top four. Top four. Top four. Top four. That's good.
Sort of a so-so result there. Unfortunately, pushing Ontario for shot rock, which allows Ontario to ignore the situation in the rings a little bit. And they can pile some guards in front of the rings.
Let it grow! Your rocks in! Has to go! Hard, get it over hard!
Trying to curl this rock to close the gap between the two guards.
Great sweep.
Well done. So now a little bit of pressure on Alberta. Ontario being shot rock on the button is forcing them to rearrange some stuff in the middle. First, tackle this guard situation. Try and make a double peel. But really, Ontario can be patient and guard for most of this end.
Job one done. Got that one rock out of the way. To your point, I think Ontario is just going to throw up another guard here.
Ontario coming a little bit deep there, making this double peel chance a little bit easier. This double peel opportunity, I should say.
So where's the ideal place for the shooter here, Tanner?
Somewhere out of the way. I think we saw Emma motion to go through those two rocks. That is an option if those rocks were a little bit further apart, but I think you're going to have to hit the one, as we look at it now, you're going to have to hit the one on the right. Fairly thick, and hit a small piece of the second rock and spin up out of the top. I don't think there's any room to go through those rocks. So not ideal. Still leaving two center guards up there. So this is an interesting call here. We see Ontario motioning to potentially bring another one into the button area. Okay, now we're thinking of throwing a high guard. A little bit more of a patient call here. That yellow is quite tight to the ring, so bringing another one in could be a little bit too aggressive now. Potentially an option later in the end, though.
Can't touch it. Top 12. Top 12.
Top 12. Oh.
Yeah, we're hearing that's heavy.
What's
Trying
plan
to get
B?
knockable. Yeah. Try and make sure you're past that red, ideally. Okay, not bad. Good plan B.
I guess it doesn't hurt them. Doesn't help them a lot, but it doesn't really hurt them. To your point, it got past that rock, so I guess.
Yeah, definitely. If they had kind of let that come up and chap off the top 4 rock a little bit thicker, then Alberta might have been able to come off of it and potentially make a double. But so good heads up to get the best out of that shot.
Abby DeSormo, the third, trying to make a run back here.
Excellent shot. Getting rid of everything in the forefoot, creating a lot more space for Team Alberta. Very well done. Much simpler now for Team Alberta. Still a couple center guards, but a little bit more room to score.
Leaving your corner peeking out there, Tanner, but I don't think you ever take on that slash.
No, I think the important part here is if you were going to make a play in the middle, to get shot on this rock. We're on Vice's last rock now, so it's getting a little bit late. This is a good option too. Try to run off these 2 red rocks on the left. Key thing about this shot will be, where does your shooter end up? If you hit it a little bit thick, you make the double. You roll over to the middle and stagger 2 yellow rocks in front of that red rock that's at the back 4. Very close. Well done. Alberta hitting really well so far.
Ontario now has to be a little careful to put this rock in a spot that doesn't give back the opportunity. Definitely don't want to be shot. And not runnable, I suppose.
Yeah, a little bit no choice here. You're gonna have to go in the middle. You're kind of just have to give Alberta an opportunity to play that run back.
Back 4. T. Abby's up. Really wide. T. Whoa. Back 4.
A little bit out there. Gonna have to manage this well in the second half.
It's not that heavy.
Sweeper's doing a great job being patient in the first half, getting as much curl out of that as possible.
You're in a better spot to see it. Is that mostly open, Tanner? Or?
It's mostly open, but I think it kind of does the trick in the sense that I don't think Alberta can get low on it, can get underneath it. Challenging to hit that and stay shot rock as well. So, sort of does the trick.
Yeah,
potentially even better than going fully under and giving Alberta another chance to run that back and stay behind their shooters. So, bit of a sneaky spot.
Yeah, it's right on the cusp of being chaseable. Right on the edge. Those 2 rocks are just a little bit too close together for it.
Looks like Alberta is electing to ignore those 2 reds now and come in on Skip's first rock. Not a bad option, but bringing a little bit of risk into play.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't want to be down on top of that red rock, because if she does, Ontario can just sit one right on top of her and then takes the end away.
To me, this is really about limiting the risk. It looks like this rock will, a little bit deep. So, and by what I mean by limiting the risk is even if she was a little bit heavy, if she was able to be shot rock back 4 in a spot where Ontario couldn't remove it, then there would only be a potential of a steal of 1. Now, if Charlotte can get this rock into a good position top 4, then Emma's going to have to play a shot against 2.
Looks like they're taking a little bit less ice than Alberta did. Not much, maybe half a rock.
And this is where you have to pay a lot of attention to what the other team has done. It's not enough to have a general idea of what the speed is. You've got to really pay attention to how much the team swept before you go to throw the shot. If they swept it a lot, it could change the conditions, make it speed up for this shot right now.
Just tee.
All right, pretty good shot. Really shrinking the rings for Team Alberta. Definitely a force. Now a potential steal. This looking a little bit wider than Ontario's rock. Trying to help it over and catch some backing.
Just a little bit wide and a little bit heavy, and it looks from here like it's a steal of 2. Ontario's motioning for a steal of 2. I'm going to try and talk Alberta into it, and I seem to be successful. It was a steal of 2 for Ontario. That makes it 3-2 for Ontario going into the 6th end. Big steal, big turnaround there for Ontario. We'll take a very, very, very short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We're at the New Holland U-20 Canadian Curling Championships. We are watching a battle between Ontario 2 and Alberta 1, the Charlotte Wilson team out of Ontario and the Emma DeSchiffart team out of Alberta, the RCMP club in Ontario, Ottawa area, and the Saville Centre in Edmonton. We just saw Ontario take a steal of 2, and Tanner, you said something to me interesting in the break that, whether the fifth end, first of all, the fifth end, that mop effect is a real thing. And second of all, maybe the teams adjusted differently to that and maybe didn't adjust as well.
Yeah, I think more what the end of that in there really entailed was just not anticipating the speed up after each shot. Like, we're in a comfortable position back here, and we have the benefit of being able to time every rock and have the same vantage point, but it looked like it was slowly getting faster and faster and faster as they continued to play on the one side of the sheet near the end of the end. And yeah, not making excuses, but it could have been probably good weight in a different path. So just being diligent and trying to predict the change. It's very fast out there, so the ice is going to change a little bit more than if the conditions were a little bit slower. You can see that there. The players are saying, yep, very, very fast conditions.
And again, drawing from your experience at this event, this is probably one of the, well, I'm not going to presume, is this one of the things that maybe is so different for juniors coming into an event and in a facility like this with this kind of ice conditions? Is that one of the bigger learning curves?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I would say aside from this being unique to this event, I don't know if that condition would be unique to this event. You can see that in a curling club, and I think the biggest thing I had to learn especially going from skip down to now I'm playing second and I'm sweeping is I think these young players should try and view ice as not a constant thing. It's a living, breathing, ever-changing surface, and you know, when the surface is really, really good like this is here, sometimes you can go on autopilot and you can start to think, well, it's the same everywhere, but it's still changing. And then as you need to make harder and harder shots, if the speed changes by a foot here or there and you're trying to put it within inches, it can really impact the outcome of the shot. So that was the biggest thing I had to learn. So now we're seeing a little bit of the script flip here. Ontario with a small lead, up one without hammer. Alberta now having to play the corner guard. This setup kind of colloquially being referred to as the box setup, and what that really means is you have the team without hammer putting up a center guard, followed by the team with hammer throwing a corner, the team without hammer going around the center guard, and then following the team with hammer going around their corner guard. So it kind of creates a box. There's a bit of an error there with that rock being in the top 12, but this is generally what we refer to as the box setup.
And I presume, Tanner, that one's a little deeper than they wanted?
Yeah, unfortunately, sliding too far. Emma debating whether she should come into the middle or deal with the center guard.
3-2 score here. Maybe the peel is the prudent call. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I would say rather than peel, I think it wouldn't be wrong to hit the center and roll over for another corner. But I think it's time to, whatever you do here, try and keep the shooter in play somewhere.
Position that cue ball.
Absolutely.
This one curling on them early. Uh-oh.
Hopefully that gets over the top for Team Alberta.
Oof, got away with that a little bit there. Didn't quite work out for them the way they wanted, but I personally like the weight selection. It was manageable. It may be a little more ice, but the weight selection was
So this is something that you're going to see more and more often. Teams are starting, like at every level, teams are starting to ask themselves, can we get more out of this play? Oftentimes, even teams with a small lead would have just peeled this corner guard. Now you're seeing everybody play lighter and lighter weight and try and, well, this was a slight miss here, but it still accomplished what a peel would have accomplished anyway. So Team Ontario trying to get a little bit more out of each shot. It's a good strategy.
Jump those. Yeah. Charlotte's like, Holland Street. You're hitting.
You see the time clocks running in the background there. The teams get, I'm not entirely sure how much they get. I know in a normal quote-unquote game they get 32 minutes. With the interaction time, I think they get an extra minute or two. So I think it's 34. I should know that sitting here with the mic, but I don't, so shame on me. Regardless, both teams have lots of time left. They're in the 6th. They need to play the rest of 6, 7, and 8, and they both have well over 13 minutes. Tons of time, thinking time, of course, being used.
Pretty good guard. Cheating a little bit to the left as we look at it, or right as we look at it now, but Ontario can play this chase around the outside. However, bringing a little bit of risk into play with the jam at the back. Another thing, if they hit and roll out here, Alberta, because that guard is a little bit closer to the center, Alberta might be able to come around and get shot rock. Right now they're not shot, so it forces Alberta later in the end to have to deal with that back 8 rock, which is not ideal. So that corner is a little bit better than it might seem right now.
Really hard, Sid. Really hard. Really hard.
Oof.
Well swept there.
Boy, really well swept to get around that. Would you have chased there, Tanner, or peeled?
It's not wrong. The peel brings its own kind of risk because you're not taking out shot rock, obviously, but now you can kind of see, because they stayed where they did, Alberta's got a larger area that they can draw this to. They don't have to be fully shot, or sorry, I mean fully buried to have this rock be irremovable. So we'll see if it dies in time.
Little bit deep. They're definitely not shot. They may be second. From this overhead view to me, I'm going to bet on red.
I think you bring it back here.
I think I prefer this, especially if you're already sitting 2. There's no need to put more junk behind that corner guard. Alberta's going to have to remove, if Alberta's third shot, they're going to have to remove potentially 3 rocks to bring that other one into play. So this draw around the middle could potentially neutralize the corner. What would you say, Sean, so far this game? The miss has been a little heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say a little heavy. A little heavy. There's more over curls than under curls. In the last few years where I've been at this event, that's what I see more often. Generally, the quality of the playing conditions here is exceptional. And it's, like I said, off the top, like TV type ice. And it's not something these players will have a ton of experience with.
Another really well swept rock. Being as patient as possible and then carving it over at the end.
Yeah, I like that they're in front of the tee line. They kind of half hang out there, so you really can't get rid of that yellow one without jamming on the black red one, so you really can't get rid of it. Ontario now has to deal with this, and I guess if they're not in a great spot, Alberta has the draw on the other side too if they needed it. Let's see, out-turn draw, there we go. Out-turn for righties, in-turn for lefties. Ontario trying to Christmas tree here, do you think, Tanner, a little bit? Or freeze right on top?
I think freeze right on top.
Back 4. Heavy. Heavy.
Important to get a little bit low here.
Heavy's not the way you want to miss this.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Back 8. 3. 3. Yeah.
So leaving the door open now for Alberta to come down and freeze to their own. This is really a line shot. I'm going to line this up onto the back 2 reds. You can come down and bump that yellow. You can tap it right onto those reds. You can be a little bit short of it, but the key thing here is to be lined right on that pocket.
Oh, I can. A little heavier than they wanted it. They think they're still second shot, but they are kind of wide open, and they're behind the tee. They didn't really hurt themselves. They just more like they gave up a little bit of an advantage. If they could have glued, like you had mentioned, Tanner, if they could have glued that kind of right on top, gotten that angle right, they could have maybe been looking at a 3 here. But putting it there might get Ontario, might let Ontario out of jail a little bit.
Yeah, Team Ontario here calling a bit of a safer shot. They were gesturing to freeze to the top button rock there, which also would do the trick in stopping a 3-under or potentially forcing Alberta. But actually, now that I see it, are they hitting the back one and rolling in?
That's what they indicated.
Okay.
Would you ever just freeze to shot rock or even tap it back 2 inches?
You could. It's hard. The hit is probably a safer shot to not give up 3. And you could roll in and shrink the rings as well.
I guess what they really don't want to do is rub off that shot rock. Sounds like they're close though. Little over curl there. I think they wanted to miss that, hit and roll under. Still takes the potential 3 away. Gives Alberta the open draw for 2. Still, Emma has to hit the 4-foot. Her weight's been good. The team's been able to manage rocks really well this game. So I'm sure her confidence is high.
Sweeper staying a little bit heavy. Oh, seem to like it now.
Should come off, I think. Really good patience by the sweepers there. They didn't panic. They thought it was a little heavy at first, but hung on there, didn't panic sweep it, and Alberta picks up a 2 with a nice draw. Alberta takes the advantage back here in 6, taking a 2 spot to make the score 4-3 Alberta as we head into the 7th end. Teams will take a short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. We're at the New Holland U-20 Canadian Curling Championships here in the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex in Sudbury, Ontario. Former home of the Amethyst Curling Camp. No longer the home of the Amethyst Curling Camp, unfortunately. Great surface, great game we're watching, Tanner. I'm Sean Turoff. I'm here with Tanner Horgan, local hometown hero boy fellow. Happy to be here with you, Tanner. And some really good curling so far. I think we kind of went over what teams we're missing out on. What are teams really doing well so far, in your opinion, Tanner?
I think the sweeping's been quite exceptional so far. The rock managing it for long, and it's not just important to get the right weight. I think the sweepers have been doing a really well job of, if it's a little wide early, they're patient. They know how much their equipment's doing. They know that they can wait and then bring it over at the ends. So that's impressed me the most so far.
Giving your sweepers a chance is, again, speaking at your level, I guess that's a very big part of the game, right? To make sure that your sweepers can have some kind of impact on every shot.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really turned into, as the players have gotten better and better and better at throwing the rock, they're putting it more in the hands of the sweeping, and we've learned a lot more lately about what our equipment can do. And yeah, it's allowing the front ends to have a larger impact on the game.
More team shots, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
With 2 ends left to go here, a 1-point game, it's hammer becomes even more important than it normally is. Alberta throwing up that center guard. Ontario cutting off that path a little bit by coming right in behind it. Looks from our vantage point like they're dead buried in behind it, and I think they're in front of the tee line. I guess the game plan for Alberta is probably right. A force, that would be ideal. Take hammer tied into the 8th end and bring it home with 1.
Yeah, this is one of those kind of classic scenarios where the team that's up in the score is going to push a little bit this end. They're hoping not to allow Ontario to blank. Ontario would like, probably the best option for them would be to blank, but they would be happy with the deuce as well. So it's going to create this scenario where, kind of this cat and mouse scenario, where the two teams are going to have to decide whether they're going to continue playing aggressive or flip to a conservative strategy as the rocks start to build up here.
So Ontario ending up with another center guard. I guess the only issue with that really is the position of that yellow rock. It is tappable if they needed to.
I think so, yep.
Oh,
From what I can see, you can do that. Yep.
Alberta looking to come the other way, though, with the out turn and just draw one in there.
Yeah, so far the setup slightly advantageous for Team Alberta. Looking to get the force this end.
Yeah, I guess if you get a little fortunate here, you might get a sneaky steal out of it. I obviously wouldn't want to take too much of a risk trying to get that sneaky steal, but if you can ever pull it off. Emma just indicating she'd like it top 4 foot just to cut off that draw path again. Really quickly, I'll run across the sheets. On sheet A, New Brunswick, BC. New Brunswick is enjoying a 6-3 lead over BC. Quebec 2 over Northern Ontario 1 on sheet B. Quebec 2 currently leading 4-1 in the 7th. And way over here on sheet D, we have Newfoundland, Saskatchewan, and there's a bunch of people in front of me, and I can't see what the score is. Nope, it's 4-3 for Saskatchewan. So again, all scores, curling.ca/scoreboard.
He's going to say peel. He's going to say peel.
So we're going to see another coaching interaction here from Team Ontario. Clock is going down, but I think both good uses of the two interactions this game. I think they were used in key moments where it was a little bit challenging to decipher what to do. So this is where that really comes into play. So switching gears here for Ontario, probably recognizing that there's limited chance of getting a blank. So trying to come down and maybe move some rocks around or freeze one in there and give them a better chance to get two.
It's all you!
Another really well swept rock.
Not ideal there, Tanner.
No, I think that's a good that's a good spot. To be picky, maybe a little bit lower, but I think it does the trick in the sense that if a rock, one of those guards, you later in the end were to come back and make contact with the pile in the middle, the yellow would be removed from play, and a red rock would stay shot. So the angle is probably a little bit better for Team Ontario. Alberta's going to have to push at some point. They can't keep Ontario shot forever because it'll give Ontario a shot to draw 2 later in the end.
Alberta taking advantage of their interaction, choosing now to cut off this path. To your point, I think, Tanner, to try and prevent that deuce from happening. There is always this run on the I'm going to say clockwise side because we have lefties on the clockwise side, the left side of the sheet as we're looking down the sheet. Little tap, yellow red to shot rock. So they're kind of trying. I think they're trying to take away this side, so nothing gets too messy on the other side before they can play that other one. This one maybe over curling a little bit. Didn't really cut off the path to the 4 foot.
Does the trick with blocking the red rock from being tapped too hard.
The yellow, red, red, yellow.
Ontario electing to play the run here. Multiple run. caught a little bit there. Might have left the sweeping just a tad late. Weight seemed okay. Weight seemed like it was enough to do the job.
It was an appropriate weight. Didn't overthrow it.
She didn't miss by much. It was, I mean, with 4 rocks to move, it's a matter of, it's literally a matter of millimeters.
So now they're playing your shot, Sean. They're going to come down and tap this top rock up.
Not an easy shot. It looks really juicy from where I am, but no, it's not easy.
Very close.
We're close to that guard. Oh, they're by it. Might have over curled a little bit. Just
That's
a little bit
though.
light.
So now you can see with the way those yellows are set up, Alberta has access on both sides to remove the shot rock, albeit the one side is a run back and the other side is a short little slash, but certainly the angles are building up for Alberta this end.
So I think they're all recognizing that there's 2 options here, and the choice really is to take away which one they think Alberta has a better chance of making. Can't really take away both of them, so pick the one that Alberta is more likely to make and take that one away. Line looks really good from here. And looks like they've done the job. Pretty much takes the slash away.
Both teams seem to be content with the situation in the rings, calling guards. You don't see that often. It's not wrong, though.
Alberta looks...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, Alberta looks quite content to force this, to get Ontario forced. Again, the aggressive Sean here is thinking, oh, we run it back, we can get some points. We don't need that. This is the more mature call. The juniors are calling the more mature call than I would call.
You're just going with your heart, eh?
I am.
Curling fanning you? You just want to see some granite fly?
Come on. No, full credit to these young women. They're calling the right shot. They're calling the smart one. Definitely playing the scoreboard. Definitely a smart thing to do. That fully and completely. Does it?
It looks like it chokes off that side of the rings. It's hard to say. You might be able to curl past that corner to the 4-foot, but
from the overhead, it looks like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Can't decide whether it doesn't. From where we're sitting, it looks like there's no way you get to the 4-foot.
Bit of a scary call here. Don't want to move the middle yellow as we look at it now.
Right.
It's blocking Alberta's access in to remove shot rock, so gonna have to be careful with this.
careful here. These will take off.
Pretty good result.
Now, is there a path between those two red rocks to tap?
It's hard to say. It did open up an Ontario draw to the 4-foot later in the end. If there's no hole there, I would say mission accomplished. Hard to tell from our vantage point.
So it looks like they're calling the intern tap through that hole. I think they're calling intern.
They're calling the intern.
I think they're calling the intern. And I know what you're saying. Like I like the out turn better from where we're sitting, but I think when she left, they were looking at the intern. Not sure the intern's there.
You have to throw it probably pretty hard. Peel weight.
Does that top red one ever? I don't think they have timeouts. I don't think you've got timeouts.
I think there was an interaction, but I don't.
There was an interaction already. There's
I don't
no
know if they
timeouts.
called the timeout yet. Lots of time, so
yeah,
the timeout would
tons
essentially just to see what the coach is thinking, and plenty of time.
So let's say if they okay, so if they ever did take on the out turn peel, would that red rock ever, the one that's top 4, would that one ever go away, or is that just going to stuff?
Possibly, if you threw it really, really hard, you could see that top 4 yellow pop. But more often than not, kind of more of a normal hit weight, it would stay in the 4-foot.
Okay. So they're definitely throwing an intern here. I think they're trying to cut off the draw.
I like this call. I think this is a safe call. You got to think at the start of the end, what was our goal? What was come back to? It looks juicy to play that hole and potentially get a big steal, but being tied with hammer coming home is pretty good.
Another area where these athletes are more informed than they were, say, 10 years ago is analytical knowledge. You know, what's an advantage look like, and what does a disadvantage look like, and what's an optimal scoreboard, and do you play how much is the risk worth? I guess I think they have a better sense of that than they ever have, maybe because we've paid more attention to that in our sport. So I agree with you. I think that's probably, again, the smart call. Ontario really can't make a play on this. How do they get that other shot in there? I'm not sure. Maybe
there might be a hole there to draw through. Very, very difficult, though.
So you're thinking
just a straight draw around the red guard. I don't know if that last guard closed off the hole entirely for the draw. As we can see there now, if the camera changes, it's very, very hard, but it is potentially there is a draw there for 2 eventually.
I guess they kind of, oh boy, I guess you kind of have to be careful where they put it, because if they do get in there in the wrong spot, then the run becomes even more juicy. Maybe. Two one, so they're throwing a guard.
Looks like they're guarding that hole that Team Alberta was weighing whether to go through or not.
Yep.
So good rock placement there. Does the trick.
This is one of those ends where maybe 4 or 5 rocks ago they could have just looked at each other and said, how about you just take one and we'll just play the next end. Okay. Nah, let's throw 12 guards instead. not 12, sorry, 3, 6, 7. Let's throw 7 guards instead.
So it looks like a similar idea. Guarding off that hole there.
Another challenge these athletes have to go through is the noise factor, which I'm sure I can hear it quite loudly, of course, because I'm sitting here. But that's, you know, maybe on the next shot or something, I'll get you to talk about a little bit your experience with the noise and getting used to crowds, etc.
Yeah, certainly. That was that's another great thing that for these young athletes is that we get to host these in an arena event. Or sorry, an arena setting, and that can be challenging when you're playing in an arena for the first time, and it's the first time you've had interaction with crowds. Now here, it's we have a lot of parents, we have a lot of great supporters that come out and cheer people on and make a lot of noise, and that can have an impact when you're trying to communicate with your teammates. So I think, like what we were saying earlier, this looks like a very challenging draw through this hole.
Charlotte about to throw a big shot. A game beside us just finished, and that's what prompted me to ask about the noise. There's always the potential of a big crowd surge as you're throwing a big shot. Looks like she was very composed there.
Oh, well done to get through the hole. See if it stays. A little heavy.
And it's 1 for Ontario. Alberta is able to manufacture the force there. So in a great game, we're seeing the teams tied 4-4 going into the 8th end. Alberta will have the hammer going into what might probably will be our last end. We had a double extra last night, so I'm not going to, put any money down. But we'll be right back with the 8th end.
Look at that shot.
See how he reacts. There goes one souvenir. Hit them both, too. Ah, great shot. That's a great shot. Oh, he's going to pick it right out of there. He's got it.
That is what you need to become the
Welcome back, everybody. We're at the New Holland U-20 Canadian Curling Championships here in the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex in Sudbury, Ontario. We've witnessed a big battle between Ontario 2, the Charlotte Wilson team, and Alberta 1, the Emma DeSchiffart team. We're all tied up in 8 coming home. Alberta has the hammer. Ontario is going to try and steal their way. My name's Sean Turf. I'm joined by Tanner Horgan. Mentioned a couple of times, Tanner's local hero, hometown superstar. He doesn't like it when I say that, but I'm going to keep saying it. Ontario throws up that guard, Tanner, and Alberta is coming around. Is this how you're going to win the game? Tell me, how would you handle this if you're Alberta?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the correct call. So with the no-tick rule, Ontario getting a piece of that center, Alberta's unable to tick that guard over. So certainly with that not being an option, this is the correct call. Basically try and get your lead rocks, top button, top 4, in a position where they're going to be a nuisance for Team Ontario. Just try and get them in the way. So that's a little bit heavy. It's going to be really important to see where Alberta can get their second lead rock.
I talked a little bit about analytical knowledge in the last end, and on the coaching side of things, we know very well what the odds are in this situation, and Alberta definitely has the advantage, as you would expect. Tied with hammer, you definitely have the advantage, but that isn't to say that these are all probabilities. It's not to say it's a done deal. you know, lots of curling to come. Alberta has the advantage, though. Not a bad spot for Ontario. I think they wanted a little closer to the center line, but controlling the front.
Very important shot coming up here. Usually, we're seeing in this situation, it's really important where the lead gets their second rock. If the first rock is a little heavy, the situation can be remedied with a really well placed rock here. So a little bit lighter than Alberta wants, and leaves room for Ontario to come around the top 8 rock, top 12 rock there, and get shot rock on the pin.
Hasn't been a lot of play down this side with this turn. I think both teams are getting fooled a little bit by the weight on this spot.
So a little bit of a missed opportunity there to get shot rock right away. Fortunately, leaving a stagger in the top 12 is quite good for Ontario. Great shot.
Really good shot. Gets a little fortunate they didn't clip their own there. Really opens that up now. Ooh, that's close. Whoop. Oof. Good line call. Ontario second, Abby Rushton. Gonna try and put something back up there, get control again of the center.
So I think a little bit conservative here. Top 12 situation is not great for Alberta. Eventually, Ontario's going to have a chance to get in there and get shot rock. And you're not going to be able to remove it. So, going to have to deal with the top 12 situation eventually.
Ooh.
Okay, does the trick.
Just trying to scare that rock out of the way.
Basically just moved over by the wind.
Does the job. Yeah, it's just does the job. Yeah, with the stagger between that red and yellow rock too, Tanner, I guess there's not really Alberta doesn't really have a run back. So if Ontario was ever able to tap that shot rock and roll under the pair, be practically impossible to get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Little past your boom.
Ontario doing a good job here of keeping some space between the guard and the top 12 situation.
Is Alberta just looking straight peel her, or do they want to disrupt?
Sir, I think playing that turn, they're just looking to straight peel.
Okay. straight peel they get. Looks like Ontario is putting that rock back.
Same weight, got it. Little bit less. 2.5. Two. Little bit less. 2.
So Tanner, does Alberta ever just say, okay, nice guard, we're drawing around it?
You could eventually. We're gonna see that now. Emma motioning to draw around. This is one way to deal with the situation if you're not comfortable trying to remove a bunch of rocks up front.
Knowing you, as I do, I imagine you'd be peeling personally. Your
We
personal choice.
would be peeling, yeah, but this is not wrong.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why I said
Yeah.
personal choice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of granite to remove. So a well-placed rock here, and Ontario will have a hard time getting into the button area to get shot rock.
This one's looking very nice, I have to say. If it ever curls, it's not catching the curl like I thought it would.
There it goes. Another really well-swept rock, being really patient, very well managed. So that is ideal. That was a really good shot. And what I mean by that is if Ontario still has an option to draw around with the outturning, there is enough curl there. But Alberta did a good job of leaving the top 4 rock a little bit exposed to be raised later. So we can see there now, you have a little bit of access on the left-hand side.
She's trying to get to nose. You're trying to get to nose? Okay.
So Ontario recognizing that those rocks are in a really good position for Alberta. Charlotte's electing to come down and bump those rocks, and it'll take two bumps, two taps to eventually get shot rocks. So one on her first rock, and then hopefully for Ontario they would have a second chance to tap again and get shot rock.
This one's looking a little quiet. Looks like it's diving hard towards that center line guard. That could be trouble. And now that top 12 rock, which you just didn't love, is really important. I guess if Alberta doesn't put something in a great spot here, even if Ontario could come down on those 2 yellow ones and peel them out, they'd probably lose their shooter, and that one of the top 12 would end up being shot rock.
So this is one of those situations where, how do we not screw this up? It's those angles are really, really good. Ontario's got one shot to get shot rock, and I think they've figured out that the left side of the sheet is the problem. Yeah.
Or get there first. If they make it, I don't know.
We want to make sure we're never here.
Quite a bit of time. Alberta can take their time and think about it. Again, they don't have a timeout under the new interaction rules. They can't stop the clock, but they can take whatever time they've got to talk about it. A coach can't be talking to them now because they've used that interaction. Looks like they're electing to take this draw away from Ontario. To your point, I think that's probably the way you don't screw it up. Anywhere short is probably great here. He's just cutting the path off. Looks like it's in good shape as long as it doesn't curl too much more.
Yeah, unfortunately that might have overcurled a little too much. A way that they could have made that shot probably a little easier would be to play it inside out, similar to how they were playing it last end. Especially late in the end, it can get a little bit soft in the middle, and it's hard. The miss tends to be an overcurl when you're playing guards out wide like that, so makes this shot a little bit more challenging, but still available.
Needs pretty much full button here.
Where's theirs?
And if she does make it full button, then Alberta has a tough shot. Not sure what that shot is. Might be the slash on that one, but we'll cross that bridge. Back four and wide, I think I'd like to hear that a little bit, because out this wide, haven't played a lot down here. It's looking pretty good coming over the hog line. Time looks good. It's close. It's just got to finish up. Just got to finish up.
Too wide.
That'll be a little bit too heavy.
Really tough shot, and that's handshakes because Alberta is sitting two, and they just don't need to throw their last rock. Really great game, Tanner, between Alberta and Ontario, the Charlotte Wilson team and the Emma DeSchiffart team. Thanks, buddy. That was a pleasure calling that game. It was a good one to watch. A couple of good teams.
Yep, absolutely. Lots of fun. Good luck to both teams throughout the rest of the event.
And for those of you watching, we appreciate you tuning in to the U-20 Canadian Curling Championships, the new Holland U-20 Canadian Curling Championships. I'm Sean Turov, and on behalf of local hero Tanner Horgan, thanks again for watching. Tune in tonight at, oh my gosh, I should know, 6 o'clock. I think it's 6 o'clock for the next game. Right here.
It's a beautiful blend of strategy, skill, and creativity. Curling. But it's our people that make us great. We're a mosaic of countless experiences. We communicate. We collaborate. We value new ideas and different perspectives. We learn from our past and from our future. We may even disagree sometimes, but it's in our differences that we can see our strengths. The beauty of our sport is reflected in our people and our values. Regardless of your ethnicity or gender, your abilities, your stage in life, your beliefs, or who you love. The rocks and the ice don't discriminate, and as curlers, we won't either. We will be the change that we want to see in the world. Curling is a place for everyone.